Hey guys, I'm Lorentz from Cosplay, and today we're finally doing the BAKUGOU boot tutorial. We're gonna start this off with this awesome pair of Walmart boots. I think you can get them for like $25 to like under 30. Like if this was a video game, this would be an essential crafting item. For this build, we're gonna take these essential craft items, unlace them like so, and then we're gonna follow that up by removing the tongue. And in order to do that, I'm just gonna use my nice pair of fabric scissors to cut off the tongue. It might be a little tough in the front right here, so just wash your fingers when you're cutting this part. And just like that, the tongue's removed. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use the patterns, and I'll have a link down below where you guys know where to get them. These patterns are gonna work for these kinds of boots. I don't know about other kinds of boot. You guys can try them out and let me know if they do work. But for this tutorial, we're gonna use these kinds of boots. For these patterns, there's this shin portion that I have right here, and it has all these instructions that say strap and Velcro, and I'm explaining to you guys what to do with each of them. So finally getting into the build, we're gonna start by transferring the pattern onto a black sheet of vinyl. I like this marine vinyl. There's a certain type of marine vinyl you can get at your fabric store. Look for the ones that's stretchy and matches the sheen of the boots. So going back to the pattern, I've cut out the circles, which will be the positions of the eyelets along the shin of the boots, as well as the corners, just the corners of the strap. So just so it's easier. And we're not gonna use those yet. All right, so here we're tracing the pattern onto the vinyl like so. This U portion is the portion that's unique to these essential boots. So if you use another pair of boots, you might have to modify this portion because this portion is gonna be the one that's gonna wrap around the shape of the boot. Okay, and here's that U portion once you fully traced it on. Okay, and here's the shin part. You'll make sure you flip the pattern where it says flip along the midline, and we're just gonna trace it like so. The full shin pattern should look something like this. So once I have the pattern transferred onto the vinyl, I'm gonna cut them out with my nice dedicated pair of fabric scissors. They're really good, just get some fabric scissors. One thing to note though, for the shin portion, the top region, make sure you leave about a ½ inch margin because that's gonna fold it down and we're gonna sew it up. I mean, you don't have to do that, but it's a nice finish. That's what I'm doing right here. Right along the midline, I'm making a cone cut because it's gonna help with the flap. And I'll show you guys what I mean by that. Now back to the shin guard pattern I was talking about earlier with the circles and the strap position. We're gonna take that and put it back to the front of the vinyl. Carefully trace the positions in like so. Now flip it over along the midline and do the same thing to the other side. Once you've transferred positions onto the fabric, you should have something that looks like this. Next, we're gonna attach the zippers. Here I'm using 12-inch separating. Make sure they're separating, not closed bottom. So keep an eye out for that. Separating sports zipper. Here is my attempt of sewing zippers onto it. I did a lot better job doing it the second time than my first time, but I didn't have the full details on how to attach zippers properly, but if you guys Google it, I might have a link somewhere down below to a video. Follow that tutorial on how to sew on zippers. So for this U portion, that's gonna be the boot cover. We're gonna give it a double top stitch. I think that's what it's called. I don't know my terminology for sewing. I don't sew, guys. We're gonna try to imitate the stitch pattern of the boots, and that's what I'm doing right here. So we're gonna do that double top stitch pattern along the edge of the U portion right here. And if you know what you're doing, you're gonna get something way better than this, but this is how mine came out. So once we wrap the boot up, we're gonna properly position it, and once you're happy with the position, we're gonna take a silver Sharpie, or here in this case, I'm using a gold Sharpie. We're just gonna mark the bottom of it. Don't worry about it. We can come back with rubbing alcohol and clean that off. Okay, so once we have the position properly marked, you should have something that looks like this. So this back end, I'm actually overlapping it and marking the position, and that's gonna be the position for the Velcro. And the reason why I'm putting Velcro in is so that I can make it adjustable for the user. Because the first time I did it, I had a seamless finish and the boot cover was beautiful. The only problem was when I put my feet in, it was a little tight and it was hard to take out. So here it is with the Velcro. We're gonna put them together, test fit it onto the boot to make sure there's any problems that we can. Next thing we're gonna do is the strap. So here I'm using 4mm EVA foam. You can pick them up at my store down below as well. Here I'm just using this 2-inch ruler I have. So that's the width of the strap, and I'm cutting it out. I guess the dimension is 20 inches long, 2 inches wide. And of course, we're gonna do 2 of them, left and right. Next, we're gonna make the vinyl wrap that's gonna go around the strap. Here I'm using a 1/4-inch nominal ruler that I'm gonna use on one corner of the fabric, mark that, go to the other end, mark that, use a long ruler and connect that whole piece together. And I'm gonna do the same thing to the top, creating another 1/4-inch margin on top, following it up basically we're gonna end up with something that looks like a sandwich when we're done. Okay, and here it is, the strap with EVA foam right there. And you guys know the deal. We're gonna connect the two pieces using some contact cement. So just take your time here and properly coat the back of this vinyl since it's gonna be a wrap. And I should be wearing a mask here. So make sure you do that. And give some time to dry, tack it to a touch before putting the two edges together like so. Okay, and once we have that, at the end of the strip, I made a T-split. I don't know if that's called a T-split, I'm just making things up right now. But it's kind of like an ear right there. And that's gonna help with the flap when you wrap it up. Apply an extra coat of contact cement for those flaps. Give it a minute to dry, tack it to a touch. Then we're gonna fold it in like so. Oh, I think it got smarter here. Instead of folding the flap onto the foam, I took the foam and rolled it over to the flap. It's much easier. Once you've done that, you should have something that looks like this. Once we have the strap, we're gonna take that and line it up to its respective position on the shin guard, like so. Here I realize the strap's a little short based off the position I made, so I've adjusted it on the pattern so you don't have to worry about this. And I just moved it back a little bit. So moving it back, I like it way better. It looks way better, and I'm ready to put the strap on to the shin guard. Also, another thing I learned from the first time building these boots is contact cement doesn't stick well to the front of the vinyl. So here, I'm gonna use a piece of EVA foam right here, 2mm, and stitch that onto the position of the vinyl. So that 2mm piece I showed you earlier, I actually top stitched it down to the shin part so it doesn't come off, or it's physically attached now. And then I'm gonna apply the contact cement like so, and then put the two pieces together so that it's an actual bond between foam and foam. Okay, and here's the boots. I'm just test fitting with the strap on. Don't laugh, to see if I like it or not. So once we have the Velcro attached onto the shin guard, we're gonna take that opposite end and put it on like so. And I didn't show this step, so my bad, but I take my Velcro and I actually top stitch it onto the back of a nylon strap so that I can hot glue it onto the foam. The next thing we need to do is give this shin part some structure, and we're gonna do that by taking this pattern and transferring it over to a 6mm piece of foam. So once we have that foam piece made, we're gonna line up the midline of the foam piece with the midline of the shin guard, like so. Give it about an inch off the top of the shin guard, and then trace the position of the inner foam piece. Okay, and there's the position, so now we know where to apply the contact cement. Next, we're going to heat shape the foam piece so that it's curved and it's gonna wrap around your feet way better. Leg, not feet. And you guys know the deal, contact cement on both ends, let it dry. Here I'm using a blow dryer to hack it. No, it's a hack, but speeds up the process. And then I'm gonna carefully line up the edge along the midline, put the two pieces together. Next, we're gonna put the boot covers on, finally. So here we're gonna use contact cement, just like before, on the vinyl and the boots. Let that dry, and then put it together. But for this portion, we're only putting the contact cement on the front portion of the boot, just so that we have room to work with on the back. So the next thing we need to do is the steel toe portion, except we're gonna make it out of foam. I have the pattern right here. We're just gonna transfer it over to 2mm EVA foam. Once we have the pattern onto the foam, we're just gonna cut them out like so. So here are the eyelets. I also have those in my shop, you guys can check them out. So I went ahead and Plastidip them, which seals the foam, and hit them with some orange spray. Here they are right here. And the orange that I end up using is Rust-Oleum's 2X, I think paint and primer. Can't read from here, but you can pick them up at Home Depot and Walmart. And I think they're around $4 for this bottle, more than enough. So once those eyelets are dried, all we have to do now is put them on to the boots. And we're gonna attach them using super glue. So once we properly put on the eyelets, they should look something like this. Okay, so we're almost done here. The next thing we need to do is paint the sole orange. And to do that properly, we need to use some Angelus Deglazer. What that's gonna do is it's gonna take out the factory finish that they put on the sole, and it's gonna allow the paint to stick on the sole better. The directions are on the bottle, but here I'm just pouring some onto a rubbing cloth, that's just Bounty, and rubbing the sole off like so. And you'll see the black actually come off on it. So that's when you know it's working. So just take your time here. You wanna make sure you get as much of that factory finish off as you can. So once you wiped off the factory finish, give it about 10 minutes to dry. I'm gonna use the Angelus Paint Neon Lava Orange here and apply it like so. I thought 2 coats was gonna do it, but it actually took 3 coats to give it that nice full orange I was going for. Once that's done, the last thing we need to do is put on those boot details like so, using some super glue. So that spray you saw me use is a super glue accelerator. I know super glue is fast, but this makes it way faster and it's worth it. Recommend it. And do the same thing for the front. Just a tip here, I'm gonna start from the middle so that I know the position right from the front, and I'm gonna work to the sides. And I'll show you guys what I mean right here. And just like that, we're done making Bakugou's boots. Oh yeah, and there's this buckle detail that goes on the end of the strap. I have a pattern right here. We'll basically trace it out onto 2mm EVA foam, cut it, Plastidip it, here's some orange, and it attaches on with super glue like so. And here's the finished product of Bakugou's boots. Whew. I hope that wasn't too hard, but it's totally worth it. Next, we're gonna make the vinyl strap that's gonna wrap around the strap. The vinyl wrap that's gonna wrap around the strip. Okay,